Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we sift through a pile of sources, articles, research, expert opinions, and pull out the key insights for you. Today we're tackling, well, maybe the defining issue of our time, artificial intelligence. Specifically, we're looking ahead to 2035 and how AI is expected to reshape jobs, society, and maybe even what it means to be human. And to kick things off, let's start with something that, well, it might give you pause. It's from Geoffrey Hinton, the godfather of AI. He recently warned that AI is likely to take away most jobs within about 30 years. And he openly questions if new jobs will even appear to replace them, especially with companies relying more and more on automation.
It's quite a statement.
It really is. And to grasp the weight of it, think about how his warnings have evolved. Back in 2015, he was worried AI would just learn faster than us. By 2018, he saw it developing its own goals. Then in 2022, he started voicing fears we might not be able to control AGI, artificial general intelligence, that human level or beyond AI.
And now, since leaving Google, he's speaking much more freely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Painting this picture of fundamental, widespread change. This isn't just some tech trend. He's describing a potential, tsunami hitting the job market.
And what's fascinating when you look across our sources today is just how varied the predictions are. It's a really complex picture. And so much seems to depend on the choices we make, on human decisions. So today, we'll explore this landscape. We've got these stark warnings from pioneers like Hinton, sure, but also extensive surveys like one from Pew Research Center and Elon University. They canvassed hundreds of tech innovators, leaders, academics.
And what did they find? Optimism, pessimism.
A real mix. Actually, only 18% were more excited than concerned. A big chunk, 42%, were equally excited and concerned.
Wow, equally. That says a lot, doesn't it, about the uncertainty, the dual nature of this technology.
Precisely. It's a double-edged sword.
Okay, so our mission today is to try and distill all these insights for you, navigate the optimism, the alarm bells, and help you grasp the most crucial ways AI is projected to reshape things by 2035. Think of this as your shortcut to getting informed without feeling totally swamped. Hopefully we can provide some aha moments and a real actionable understanding. Let's dive in. Right, let's get straight to the big one for most people, jobs. We just heard Hinton's stark warning AI replacing most jobs in decades. It suggests a total rewrite of the global labor market. And this isn't like distant future stuff. We're seeing the early signs already. Like in 2024, some companies reported that only 7% of their new hires were freshers, recent graduates. That's a big drop.
Yeah, a significant drop. And why?
Because AI is already starting to handle those entry-level tasks, the kind of work new graduates traditionally cut their teeth on.
And that really lines up with the broader economic disruption forecasts we're seeing from major players. McKinsey, for instance, they project that by 2030, which is not far off, maybe 30% of current U.S. jobs could be automated. And another 60% significantly changed by AI tools. Goldman Sachs goes even further. They're looking at potentially 50% of jobs fully automated by 2045. That hits about a quarter of the global workforce.
That's staggering.
It is, and it points to a fundamental restructuring, particularly of white-collar work. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, he's noted you can already see AI's impact in finance and legal services. He predicts a major restructuring by 2035.
So which jobs are really, on the front lines here? Which sectors are most vulnerable right now and why?
Well, we're seeing the biggest impact in roles that involve sort of repetitive tasks, heavy data processing, and quite predictable interactions. Think about customer service reps or receptionists.
Yeah, chatbots are everywhere now.
Exactly. Many of us deal with automated systems daily. Chatbots handling basic questions, even robots like AIM reception checking people in. AI offers efficiency that just drastically cuts the need for human input there. Similarly, accountants and bookkeepers, AI-powered cloud accounting systems, they're efficient, flexible, secure, and crucially, much cheaper than paying human salaries for those tasks.
And it's not just the purely repetitive stuff, is it? It moves into cognitive work, too.
Absolutely. Fields like research and analysis. AI is incredibly good at sorting data, finding patterns, doing analysis, potentially making many human analyst roles redundant. Then there's the boom in online sales driving automation in warehousing. Locating packages, retrieving them, loading them, automated systems are taking over.
Right.
Insurance underwriting, too. It's heavily based on data analysis and blind formulas. That's pretty straightforward for AI to handle.
Even retail, like the self-checkouts.
Yes, exactly. The rise of self-checkout stations is a clear example. It's a cost-benefit decision for companies. They save on labor costs.
Okay, so that covers a lot of ground. But it doesn't stop there, right? What about creative fields or even tech jobs themselves?
That's where it gets really interesting and maybe more concerning for some. Even roles like graphic design, copywriting, basic journalism, they're feeling the pressure.
From tools like DALL-E and GPT?
Precisely. These platforms can generate text and images at incredible scale. Pew Research suggested back in 2024 that maybe 30% of media jobs could be automated by 2035.
30%.
And even the highly skilled tech roles, software development, engineering, data science, it's a double-edged sword. AI can definitely boost productivity for humans in these fields.
Like a copilot for coding.
Exactly. But it can also automate routine coding, testing, and even some design tasks. The World Economic Forum flagged that maybe 40% of programming tasks could be automated by 2040.
So even the people building the AI aren't entirely safe from automation.
It seems that way. It really underscores that this isn't just about low skill versus high skill. AI's ability to handle complex data and generate code puts jobs requiring intermediate cognitive skills increasingly at risk. Ray Dalio, founder of Bridgewater, he talks about a potential great deleveraging, where AI boosts productivity, sure, but displaces workers faster than new jobs appear, maybe within 2 decades. He really stresses that preparation now is key.
Okay, that's a lot to take in on the vulnerability side. So, flipping the coin, where do humans still have the advantage? What kind of roles seem more resilient, less likely to be fully automated by 2035?
These tend to be the careers that really lean heavily on uniquely human qualities. Things like high emotional intelligence, complex, nuanced decision-making, genuine creativity, and the kind of physical dexterity AI still finds very difficult.
Like teaching.
Exactly. Educators seem relatively safe, especially in subjects needing deep nuance like philosophy or in early childhood education where emotional connection is paramount. An OECD report suggested only about 10% of teaching tasks are automatable by 2040, and there's that illustrative story about Bella's robot drama tutor.
Ah, yes, tell us about that.
Well, the scenario describes a robot tutor trying to handle the conflict between students in a drama class, but it just couldn't grasp the social dynamics, the emotions involved. It failed completely.
So a human had to step in.
A human drama teacher had to intervene, using empathy, listening skills, understanding the context, all things the AI couldn't replicate. It perfectly highlights where that human touch is irreplaceable.
That's a great example. What other professions fall into this more resilient category?
Well, similarly, lawyers and judges. Their work involves so much negotiation, strategy, deep case analysis, and understanding human factors in decision-making. AI can assist, but it can't replicate that judgment yet. At the leadership level, directors, managers, CEOs, strategic thinking, navigating ambiguity, inspiring teams that remains fundamentally human work. People like Jamie Dimon and Bill Ackman have emphasized this.
What about healthcare?
Definitely. Psychologists and psychiatrists. Mental health requires such a delicate human touch. AI might help with initial screening, maybe, but the core therapeutic relationship, that needs a person. Surgeons, too. Yes, robotics enhance precision, but the surgeon's experience, knowledge, real-time critical decisions, and patient connection are vital.
Even within tech itself.
Yes, roles like computer system analysts will still need humans to maintain, update, improve, and troubleshoot the complex systems AI runs on. You can't fully automate the caretakers, the machines. And then there's creativity, the magic and thrill, as one source put it, of creating original art and writing. Imaginative fine art, compelling storytelling, most experts believe this will remain a human domain for longer. Ackman specifically mentioned human creativity in storytelling and high art enduring.
And physical jobs.
Right, the labor-intensive careers. Construction, skilled trades like plumbing or electrical work, installation, repair, maintenance. These are currently seen as least threatened by automation due to the physical dexterity and adaptability required.
Okay, so we have a clearer picture. Some jobs highly vulnerable, others more resilient, relying on those human skills. But there's this popular phrase you hear all the time. You won't lose your job to AI, but to someone who knows how to use AI.
You hear it constantly.
It sounds reassuring, almost like a simple fix, just learn the tools. But when you dig into it, it's maybe not that straightforward. It actually touches on something pretty fundamental about our whole relationship with this technology.
It really does, and it's a point of serious debate among experts. Some argue that saying is, well, maybe a bit short-sighted. They see AI as potentially different from past technologies, not just another tool like a hammer or even a computer.
How so?
The worry is that AI's capability curve, its S-curve, might not level off nicely. Giving humans time to adapt and find new ways to work alongside it might just keep getting exponentially better.
Right. And online, you see people sharing experiences like colleagues who did learn to use AI tools, but their teams still got smaller because fewer people were needed overall.
Exactly. So in that view, using AI makes you maybe slightly safer for now, but it doesn't guarantee long-term security if the ultimate goal of the AI is to automate the task itself. It suggests maybe nobody is truly safe in the long run, not even managers.
If AI agents can eventually do the work of thousands, the human prompt engineer looks like a temporary gig.
That's the pessimistic view. But there's definitely a strong counterargument to AI as a powerful tool that enhances human abilities, like a second super brain, as one expert put it.
Like the translation example.
Right. AI-assisted translation can make skilled translators much more productive. It doesn't necessarily eliminate them. The focus shifts to humans delegating tasks to AI, but staying in control, directing the work, making the key decisions.
So this really brings up that historical question. Do the old economic rules still apply? The idea of compensation effects, where technology creates new jobs even as it destroys old ones.
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Historically, yes, societies have always feared technological unemployment. Queen Elizabeth I refusing that knitting machine patent is a classic example.
She worried about the weavers.
Exactly, but economists usually pointed to these compensation effects. Cheaper goods meant people had more money to spend elsewhere, creating demand. New industries sprang up around the new technology. Think cars replacing buggies. It destroyed buggy whip jobs, but created vastly more in car manufacturing, roads, gas stations, motels.
And that pattern held for a long time. But the argument is, this time might be different.
That's the crux of it. Wassily, Lee, and Teef argued back in the 80s that early machines replaced muscle power, but computers and now AI replace brain power, cognitive functions. That could fundamentally change the equation, potentially leading to less demand for human labor overall, even with rising productivity.
Lawrence Summers echoed that, didn't he? Warning about devastating consequences for routine tasks, both blue-collar and white-collar.
He did. He suggested we might see more sectors losing jobs than creating them, and that even the new jobs created by AI might not last forever because the technology itself keeps evolving so rapidly. It challenges that historical optimism.
But there are still optimists, right? Like Joseph Davis at Vanguard.
Yes, definitely. Davis argues that long-run economic progress depends more on innovation than just population size. He points to periods like the Renaissance or the Roaring Twenties population growth slowed, but innovation drove huge economic leaps.
So ingenuity trumped sheer numbers.
That's his argument. It suggests that if AI spurs enough innovation, we could still see prosperity even with significant job displacement. But it's a big if. This tension between historical patterns and AI's unique cognitive capabilities makes forecasting incredibly difficult right now.
So beyond the huge shifts in the job market, AI's impact stretches much further, potentially triggering really profound societal changes, touching everything. And as you said earlier, the experts are really split. It looks like a dual-edged sword. Incredible potential alongside deep, deep anxieties. Let's try to unpack that, maybe start with the hopes.
Absolutely. That Pew and Elon canvassing really captured the split, with that 42% being equally excited and concerned. On the positive side, experts foresee amazing digital enhancements in medicine, health, fitness, nutrition.
Personalized healthcare finally realized.
Potentially. Much better access to information, expert advice, truly personalized education tailored to individual needs. Imagine helpful digital assistants making daily life smoother, managing schedules, providing learning support.
This is good so far.
There's hope that digital tools could strengthen human rights, improve global communication, boost learning opportunities. Some, like Gerd Leonhard, even envision a kind of Star Trek future where machines handle most labor, freeing us up to tackle big problems like disease or clean energy.
The utopian view.
Yeah, and Stephen Downes points to things like AI democratizing translation, allowing direct person-to-person communication across languages globally. Plus, AI is already enabling new science, like AlphaFold predicting protein structures, discovering asteroids, improving weather forecasts. A lot of potential good.
Okay, that's the bright side. Inspiring, even. But that other edge of the sword, it sounds pretty sharp. What are the major fears the experts are voicing?
They're significant. Some concerns echo those warnings from top AI researchers about existential risk. The idea that super-intelligent AI could pose a threat comparable to pandemics or nuclear war.
That's sobering.
It is. More immediately, there are widespread fears about AI generating erroneous or simply made-up outputs hallucinations being used deliberately for misinformation, creating deepfakes that shatter trust and undermine democracy.
We see that starting already.
We do. Then there's the potential for blanket surveillance, massive unemployment leading to social unrest, sophisticated global crime, and a dangerous concentration of wealth and power in the hands of just a few tech giants.
And the impact on our well-being.
Huge concerns there, too. The weaponization of social media, amplified by AI, could worsen population-level stress, anxiety, depression, isolation. And then you have the more sci-fi but real concerns about autonomous weapons, uncontrollable cyber warfare, runaway digital systems. It's a long list of potential downsides.
This leads directly into another critical issue: information overload and the struggle for trust. It feels like it's getting harder and harder to know what's real online.
Absolutely. AI bots, especially ones designed to seem human, are flooding online spaces. Distinguishing fact from sophisticated fiction is becoming a major challenge. And AI systems themselves can be confidently wrong, producing those hallucinations, even when trained on factual data.
Like that reminder that AI is only as good as its training data and coding. Garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly. Ginger Pack made that point forcefully. AI isn't inherently objective or trustworthy. This constant flood of potentially unreliable information degrades the whole environment. It fuels distrust, deepens polarization, creates cognitive dissonance. It makes reasoned public discourse incredibly difficult.
So critical thinking, media literacy, just basic crap detection skills become absolutely essential for everyone.
They become survival skills in the digital age. There's a huge know-how gap, a challenge in information literacy that we need to address urgently.
Which then begs the question, as you put it earlier, how do we build trust when the systems designed to inform us can also mislead us so effectively?
It's a massive challenge. Jonathan Stray hopes we can design platforms that encourage the best human behaviors using sophisticated human and automated moderation. But Herb Lin worries that our wisdom, our ability to discern, will lag behind the technology's power, leaving us vulnerable to manipulation, confusing what we want with what we actually need.
And that ties into who holds the power, doesn't it? Moving from controlling information to controlling the technology itself. There's this huge fear about wealth and power concentrating even more.
Yes, this came up again and again in the sources, a deep anxiety about a few giant corporations essentially controlling the future. Marina Cortez described AI as potentially the most powerful business model ever conceived, requiring vast resources, financial, energy, organizational.
Which freezes out smaller players.
Largely, yes. She warns this could lead to a situation where a handful of powerful people effectively take over the global ecosystem, leaving the public with very little say. That promise of AI democratizing things clashes hard with the reality of this concentrated power. Who really benefits?
And Kevin Like pointed out that this concentration means a tiny group gets to decide how human cognition is enhanced, driven by their own profit motives, not necessarily the public good.
Exactly, which could lead down the path towards what some call a digital plutocracy or even techno-feudalism, a few billionaires controlling the AI systems that increasingly manage human affairs.
Russ White even sketched out a potential three-tiered society, didn't he?
He did. The tech bros running things, the workers who just follow AI instructions like economic units, and the outsiders living low-tech, disconnected lives with no real political power. It's a stark vision of societal division.
It really is. Okay, let's shift focus again to maybe the most existential level. What does all this mean for creativity, for authenticity, for culture, this idea of a neo-synthetic age?
Peter Lunenfeld introduced that term. He describes a world where AI, trained by us on all our existing culture, language, art, music, starts producing its own versions, its own simulacra.
Copies, a copy.
Essentially. And this throws the whole meaning of authenticity into question. For centuries, we've sort of trusted photos or recordings as evidence, but AI, with deep fakes and generative images, could destroy that truth value. We might end up in an imageverse, as he calls it, where we just stop caring where things came from.
And what about the impact on human creators themselves?
That's a major concern. Jonathan Taplin warns AI could foster a mass mediocrity monoculture. He links it to the enshittification of the internet platforms degrading user experience to maximize ad revenue.
How does AI contribute to that?
By enabling the endless recycling and repackaging of content from just a few sources, prioritizing clicks and ads over quality or originality, this really squeezes actual human creators, artists, musicians, writers who are often already struggling financially. The idea that AI democratizes creativity is heavily debated. Some argue it just centralizes profits with the tech companies.
So if AI is both the tool and potentially the creator, what does that leave for humans? What does it mean to be a creator?
That's the core question. David Porish made a really insightful point. Being human involves being wrong, forgetting, regretting. messy stuff AI doesn't currently experience. He argues we need the struggle of human-to-human communication, the imperfections, to truly learn and create authentically.
But is there any hope for art in this synthetic age?
There are flickers. Lunenfeld suggests artists can resist, can de-inshitify things by working outside the mainstream markets, keeping skepticism and hope alive. And Karameliki Sanchez thinks a positive side effect might be that we start to value genuinely human creations even more.
Like the rarity makes them precious.
Exactly. As AI-generated stuff becomes commonplace, the distinctiveness, the flaws, the soul of human-made art might become more appreciated. So it's a challenge, but maybe also a catalyst for valuing our own unique creativity.
Okay, this is already incredibly complex. But now let's layer on another huge global trend. Demographics. It seems we have two massive forces colliding. Falling birth rates leading to aging societies and potential labor shortages.
Right.
And AI simultaneously threatening to displace huge numbers of workers, causing job shortages. How can we have both a shortage of workers and a shortage of jobs at the same time? It feels completely contradictory.
It does feel contradictory, and it highlights a major disconnect in research. Joseph Davis at Vanguard actually looked into this and found that demographers, technologists, business leaders, economists, they all operate on different timescales and rarely integrate their perspectives.
So no one's really studying how these two massive waves, aging populations and AI automation, might interact.
Yeah, apparently very little systematic study, which leaves us in a state of, well, extraordinary uncertainty. We just don't know if AI will ultimately complement human workers or replace them en masse. We don't know how successfully displaced workers will retrain. We don't know how governments will respond to the pressures of aging populations.
But Davis's own research on economic growth offers a potentially different angle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About population size versus innovation.
Yes, it's fascinating. He analyzed over 130 years of data and found almost no meaningful link between population growth itself and GDP growth or inflation. The real leaps in living standards he found came during periods of major innovation.
Like electrification or personal computing.
Exactly. Think of the Roaring '20s. Population growth was slowing, but innovation drove a boom. The Renaissance, same thing. Conversely, the 1970s had strong population growth, but weak productivity.
So his point is that demographics, important, might be more of a policy challenge than an existential economic threat. That innovation is the real driver.
That seems to be the implication. Dean Spears made a similar point. Demographics require smart policy, but the long-term health of a society depends much more on productivity, innovation, good systems. It shifts the focus from just counting heads to enabling human potential.
Okay, so given all this uncertainty, how does Vanguard see things potentially playing out? What are the scenarios?
Davis outlined two main possibilities. Scenario one, which they give a 60–70% chance, is that AI does drive significant productivity growth. Think major medical breakthroughs, truly personalized education, smarter cities. In this future, AI's benefits could actually help offset the economic drag from aging populations and rising deficits.
That's the more optimistic path. And the other?
Scenario two, with a 30–40% chance, is that AI turns out to be more incremental. Useful, yes, but not transformative enough to spark that huge productivity boom. In that case, the demographer's bleaker forecasts, shrinking workforces, crippling economies become much more likely.
So we're really at a crossroads. The what-ifs are dramatically different.
Hugely different, and it underlines why adaptability and forward-thinking policy are so critical right now.
Let's try and make some of this more concrete. Can we look at some specific examples or scenarios of how AI might impact daily life by 2035 based on these expert predictions, like that robot tutor example?
Absolutely. That Belladrama tutor scenario really hits home the limits of AI in complex social and emotional situations. The robot could perhaps record the argument, analyze the words used, but it couldn't understand the underlying feelings, the history between the students, the cultural context. It lacked empathy and nuanced judgment.
Which the human teacher provided.
Exactly. It shows where human skills remain essential. Now contrast that with, say, Carter's academic journey scenario. Here, AI maps out a deeply personalized learning path for him. It identifies his interests, maybe notices a curiosity about ancient history, and then dives deep, offering immersive 3D reconstructions of Babylon, casting him with live archaeological digs.
That sounds amazing, incredibly engaging.
It does. It shows the power of AI for tailored, stimulating education, but it also raises questions about agency. Is Carter truly directing his learning, or is the algorithm subtly guiding him down paths it deems optimal? Who chooses the curriculum?
A subtle loss of control, perhaps. What about the health example, Daisy?
Right. Daisy's story illustrates another facet. Post-COVID, AI systems analyze her learning data, compare it to anonymized national data for similar cases, and detect subtle learning difficulties linked to her illness.
That's powerful diagnostic potential.
Immense potential. The AI then adjusts her school timetable, suggests a modified study plan accounting for her energy levels, and even flags the need for specific medical follow-ups. It's personalized health and education working together.
But the privacy implications.
Exactly. And the ethics of algorithmic decision-making in such sensitive areas. Who owns that data? How are biases in the data or algorithms accounted for? What happens if the AI makes a mistake in diagnosis or educational pathing? These fictional scenarios really crystallize the practical benefits and the complex ethical dilemmas we'll be navigating.
They really do. So, navigating this future, this complex mix of automation, societal shifts, and demographic pressures. What are the key strategies? What safeguards do we need? And where does the human element fit in most crucially by 2035? Let's start with the workforce.
Okay. The message coming through loud and clear from the sources is that adaptability is paramount. The future belongs to those who can learn, unlearn, and relearn.
So lifelong learning isn't just a buzzword anymore.
It's becoming a necessity. Continuously updating skills, taking courses, workshops, just staying current with rapidly changing tech. It's not a one-off training course, it's an ongoing mindset.
And beyond tech skills.
Soft skills become even more valuable precisely because AI struggles with them. Emotional intelligence, creativity, complex problem solving, communication, collaboration. These uniquely human capabilities are key differentiators. Mary Treco's point about needing human-centered design for trustworthy digital systems also fits here. We need humans designing systems that enhance human potential.
Agility seems critical too.
Absolutely. Being agile, adapting quickly, being willing to learn completely new things, pivoting careers if needed. Charles Fidel talks about building self-direction, identity, agency, purpose, resilience to navigate this VUCA world. Volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous.
That VUCA acronym sums it up well. He even suggested things like sailing or martial arts.
Yeah, activities that force you to adapt to constantly changing conditions, to build resilience and resourcefulness outside of a purely academic setting. And finally, specialization. Developing deep expertise in a niche area makes you more valuable than someone with only general skills that might be easily automated.
So adaptability, soft skills, agility, specialization. But what if, despite all that, Hinton is right and AI does automate most labor? That traditional link between work and income, it breaks down, doesn't it?
It potentially does, and that forces a fundamental rethinking of our economic structures. If work disappears for many, how do people survive? How do they find meaning? This is where ideas previously on the fringe are entering mainstream discussion.
Like basic income.
Exactly. Universal Basic Income, or UBI. It's being seriously discussed by figures ranging from Martin Ford and Robert Reich to Elon Musk and Sam Altman. The idea is to provide a safety net decoupled from traditional employment.
But does it work? Doesn't it just make people lazy?
Well, the evidence from pilot programs is actually mixed, but often suggests the opposite. It can encourage entrepreneurship and doesn't necessarily disincentivize work significantly. The biggest hurdle is often figuring out how to fund it sustainably on a large scale.
What other ideas are out there?
There's talk about broadening ownership of the technological assets themselves, things like James Elbas's people's capitalism, or Jaron Lanier's idea of people getting paid nanopayments whenever their data is used to train AI. Ways to distribute the wealth generated by AI more widely.
So people get a stake in the automation dividend.
That's the idea. And then you have more radical proposals for structural changes towards a post-scarcity economy. Groups like the Zeitgeist movement envision automating away drudgery, freeing people for creative pursuits, community building, altruism, redefining work entirely.
It really raises that question of agency, doesn't it? Do we just react to what AI brings, or do we consciously try to shape the economy and society we want?
That is perhaps the central question, which leads directly to the crucial role of regulation and human-centered design. Without guardrails, this technology could easily develop in ways that harm us.
Like the risk of manipulation.
Yes, that's a huge concern. Conversational AI, if unregulated, could become incredibly sophisticated tools of persuasion, optimized using psychological profiling to exploit our biases. Instruments of mass persuasion that could seriously undermine individual autonomy.
Chilling. So keeping humans in control is key.
Absolutely essential. As several experts stressed, we need to view AI as an assistant, a tool, not the master. Humans need to be able to override, direct, to ensure AI aligns with our values and goals. We need human-in-the-loop systems.
And tackling bias is critical, too.
Critically important. We've already seen examples of biased algorithms in things like loan applications, hiring, even criminal sentencing, often because the data used to train them reflected existing societal biases. AI isn't neutral. It reflects its creators and its data. Without active efforts to mitigate bias, AI will just amplify injustice.
So it all comes back to human choices, human values, human wisdom, or the lack thereof.
Precisely. Even with the most advanced tech, our ethics, our foresight, our ability to govern ourselves and our creations will determine the outcome. Sean McGregor emphasized empowering humans in the governance of AI systems to steer away from the worst possibilities.
Which requires policymakers to step up, right?
Yeah.
To understand this, not just fear it.
Yes, Michael Nelson argued forcefully for that. We need leaders who grasp the nuances of AI and can create forward-looking regulations, not just try to apply old laws from a different era to this new technological reality. We need proactive governance, not reactive panic.
Okay, so we've covered workforce adaptation, economic shifts, regulation. What about the purely human element? Embracing our own humanity in the face of increasingly capable machines.
This is a really profound point that came up. Wendy Grossman argued that humans actually benefit from a certain amount of struggle and friction in our interactions. Navigating disagreements, different values, that's how we learn and grow.
So making things too easy with AI might actually be bad for us.
That's her concern. Over-reliance on AI as a seamless, authoritative source could diminish the specialness of being human, the value we derive from effort and overcoming challenges. She said she'd rather see a student struggle to express their own imperfect idea than submit a perfectly polished AI-generated essay.
That really resonates. It's about the process, not just the product.
Exactly. It highlights the value of genuine human connection, too. Deanna Zant hopes we'll see new platforms emerge that foster real, deep human connection, perhaps even as a reaction against the superficiality of some current tech. Gus Hossain predicts a resurgence in direct local communal building.
A return to basics, in a way.
Perhaps. And as Kara Malaki-Sanchez suggested, the more pervasive AI becomes, the more we might appreciate truly human creations. The art, the music, the stories that carry that distinct spark of human experience, flaws and all.
So it's a powerful reminder. AI might give us incredible tools, superpowers even, but our core human traits, empathy, creativity, resilience, our capacity for error and connection, those are what define us. And they're what will ultimately shape how we navigate this future alongside AI. As we wrap up this deep dive, thinking about these massive shifts, jobs, society, humanity itself, maybe the biggest question we face by 2035 isn't just what jobs will AI take from us. Perhaps it's more about what will we choose to do. With the new tools, maybe with more free time, what kind of human connections will we prioritize and actively cultivate in a world where technology increasingly mirrors and magnifies our own intentions, both good and bad?
And that really brings it back to human agency, doesn't it? Will we passively adapt to whatever future AI happens to create? Or will we take the reins, consciously design the future we actually want to live in, one where our values, our empathy, our need for genuine connection, even our struggles, remain firmly at the center? The choice ultimately rests with us.